Hello everybody, let's do Relics Spotlight. Now, whether you like Relics or not, they're in the game, and they are part and parcel of everything that kind of goes on. I've been experimenting with a few of them. I need to kind of like do some more with a few more of them and allocate them to certain champions. Some things I really enjoy. I'll probably do some videos soon about like some pair-ups that I've enjoyed, whether or not it's Weapon X with Wolverine Relic, whether or not it's Spider-Ham with the Ant-Man Relic, whether or not it's Colossus with the Storm Relic, or one that I've been working on a little bit at the moment. Well, Hulkbuster with Nimrod, my 6-star Nimrod, and as well Black Widow Clairvoyant, which I've been experimenting about with. It's not brilliant, and I probably will shift that off to some other champion, but there are some kind of really cool gains in certain areas and fun that I'm having regardless. But maybe I should share my fun with Relics, even though, as I said, like, I'm not a massive fan of them, but what can you do at the end of the day? They're part and parcel of everything. So, but it's fun for experimentation. In any case, Relics. New Relics coming into MCOC. We've got, first of all, a Captain America World War II one, which is block proficiency and cool blocking champs, perfect block champs, hashtag defensive, guard, Luke Cage, MODOK, Captain America Infinity War, and Spot. Oh, something with Spot might be quite annoying, especially from a battleground perspective. Design goals: weaponize, block proficiency for hashtag defensive guard champions. Thank God some of these aren't in Alliance Wars at the moment. They're just bloody annoying. Block-centric champions get more use from the Relic. Players should actively look for blocking opportunities like Spot does. Yeah, I think this is going to be horrible with Spot if you're going up against it. The last hit grants Bulwark passive, increasing block proficiency by 10 to 20%. And also Innate, which is blocking consecutive attackers, grants 7-second Avenge passive, causing each champ to attack deal up to 3% of block proficiency, plus 2 to 6% attack burst physical damage, scaling based on block proficiency. Oh man, this is going to be terrible with Spot. Absolutely frustrating, but you know, we'll see. Nice as well for Captain America Infinity War, because that could be some nice kind of ramp up and offensive improvements as well as defensive in that block proficiency elements. It's basically going to mean that you're going to have like a rock solid block proficiency, which is something we haven't really seen for a long time. It might make some content really kind of like easy and doable. I should use that term. I should use that term lightly. So because like we've had this before, we've gone, oh, this is going to be too OP for this, and then we found that like it hasn't been OP at all. But there's definitely some like extra stuff when it comes to abilities and how this is going to be more beneficial for either defensive or offensive. And that's the thing with a lot of these relics, there needs to be offensive capabilities and also defensive, or one or the other. This is why you've got, you know, the likes of some being good for Power Sting, or some being good for regeneration, like Weapon X is great in offense and defense, but that's with that relic in mind, that Wolverine relic, which kind of like makes him more frustrating, especially from the regenerative factor. Which, you know, if you've kind of seen in defense in Battlegrounds, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. But moving on, Mystic Relic, Iron Fist. Iron Fist will be your striker. And this is going to benefit Absorbing Man, Wong, Iron Fist, OG and Immortal, and Longshot, and America Chavez. I like heavy attack as a Mystic, but I'm not Doom, says the Relic. Okay. So heavy attack prone Mystics, which Dr. Doom technically is. But anyway, what's going on? Design goals, identity, index into Mystics that like heavy attacks or heavy cancel, SP Juggernaut, for example. Like what's happening? What do we get? Assist Mystic Offense burst champions to do more burst damage and limit Doom's use of this relic. You bastards. Use the hashtag metal tag if needed. Damage from presence of buffs. Anti-Gallon battleground use for hashtag offense burst champions. Okay, it's annoying. Is it everything? All these relics always kind of like stipulated for one type of genre. Let's just have a quick look back in game. For offensive burst, I've just stipulated for here, and then we sort by filter Mystic. So these are offensive burst based champions like Black Widow, Longshot, America Chavez. So yeah, that'd be kind of annoying if it's kind of like this is the only kind of champion that gets any kind of benefit. And that's like what I've been kind of playing around with different options. Because I'd be like, well, wouldn't this be nice for champions that I like that throw heavy attacks, like Juggernaut, for example? Would that be kind of like a good kind of like option for it? And again, this is down to like relics are meant to be. I always thought relics were meant to be all about like experimentation with any champion. It just creating them all kind of specific kind of removes the element of fun with experimentation. But anyway, I don't work for Kabam, so Kabam can set things up how they like. Unfortunately, it's the case because it just would be nice to have that kind of flow of kind of spread of going, okay, well, I can take this relic and use it on a mystic that I like a lot of people like Tigra. Can I use this on Tigra? Is Tigra one of the burst, offensive burst type champions that this is claiming to be in benefit of? In any case, I digress. Landing the first hit of a basic attack deals 15 to 35% attack energy damage, with both offense burst champions trigger this an additional time for each buff on the opponent. Oh, right, okay, so it's not specific, but it is specific. It's not, but it is, because that offensive burst base classification kind of throws that to be more of the worth. Maybe by me throwing the relics on the champions that I have, I shouldn't have done that, because it's meant to be tied for this particular specific nature of how these are meant to be classified. I don't know. Like as I said, I'll do some videos, I think, on this stuff moving forward. But in any case, and moving forward, single hit heavy attacks reduce on second ability, reduce opponent combat power rate by 5 to 10%. Hashtag events burst champions reduce opponent's combat rate by additional. So it's kind of annoying. It's not annoying, but I guess this is then all about making my Black Widow Clairvoyant, which I have with the relic. The Scarlet Witch relic, maybe kind of like that was the wrong thing to do and kind of switch that off, but to give it something like Symbiote Supreme or Sorcerer Supreme, and that kind of like change up right there needs to be done with it. Also, I do find that this is a bit of a problem with the extent of rebinding of relics. And kind of my criticism about relics in general is that as Kabam add in more, and do bear in mind, there's like, 240 champions that are playable within Marvel Contest of Champions. So it means that at some stage we'll get 240 relics. And when we get that, each and every time you're like, okay, well, a new relic's come into the game. I have now got to unbind a relic which I thought was good for this particular champion. I now have to rebind it at a later stage. And it may have cost you on a tiering thing more units in about 2 years' time to rebind a relic because you should have binded it with a relic that hasn't been invented yet. If you get my drift with that one. So that can be really annoying if like 2 years down the line you're like, okay, well the relic for what's called relic? A spot relic, for example. If a spot relic comes in, you're like, okay, well I'll put that on this champion here, but it's like, oh, it's going to cost you units because you binded it to the champion you thought was a good choice, but in fact it wasn't the best choice because that hasn't come in yet. Yeah, it can be a little bit annoying with this. In any case, there's a lot of kind of like attributes improvements, whether it's attack rating on heavy hits, opponent's buff potency, block proficiency, etc. And a skill relic, we've got something that's good for Baron Zemo. He's just bloody come in. Design goals, identity, hit into block better theme, boost for champions that benefit from hitting into the block playstyle. Massacre is not on there, but he's definitely one of them. Making targets champs that like to hit into block battlegrounds viable. That's good in some ways because I do have my Massacre up to rank 3, so maybe this is going to be beneficial for that potentially. And the better thing about this is it's not tied to any specific type of tags. So I will be indeed looking for my rank 3 6-star Massacre, which I have been using and I actually do like using in Battlegrounds. Makes it better for that, quite possibly. But, that's, again, another story for another day. Moving forward. The first hit grants 12-second Pierce passive. And will this be beneficial for Valkyrie? Of course it is. But Valkyrie is the relic. I got a Valkyrie on a Valkyrie? Okay. But there we go. Strikes into block, makes opponent defensive for 1.7 seconds. Okay. Armor penetration. Nice. Strikes into block, grants 0.5 to 2% of the striker's gouge as a 6-second fury passive, increasing attack rating. Nice. Again, ramping up the damage. I like it. It makes it more powerful. And then as well, ability 1, which is while suffering from disorient or intimidate effects, the opponent is also inflicted with a physical vulnerability debuff, decreasing physical resistance by 15 to 30%. Strikes into block, reduces opponent's defensive ability accuracy. If the opponent suffers from a fragility debuff, defense ability accuracy is lowered an additional 10 to 20%. And you get block proficiency, disorient debuff duration, intimidate debuff duration, and more. So yeah, that's that. Those are 3 new relics that are being added into the game. I actually thought there was more for some sort of reason, but yeah, those are the relics that have been added into Marvel Contest of Champions. Of these, I don't know which one kind of like takes my fancy the most. I think the science one, the new one, the Captain America one, and the Iron Fist. The Iron Fist one interests me more because I'm interested in kind of playing about with a few other champions, not just some that are on the list, but some others. But the problem is if it's specific, because it's all about offense burst. The same way that if you go defense guard, which I didn't look at a moment ago, so we'll just kind of quickly go to tags. We add tags, and it's what the heck is it called? Defense guard, defensive guard. Because we've got all these specific kind of ones right here, and then we need to filter by science and go, right, well, these are my options right here. I don't plan to use any of these, and I guess spot is the other one. I should choose like unowned champions now to kind of go, oh, here's what, no, not unbound, unowned. Okay, well, that's not coming up with anything for whatever reason, even though it says spot might be a good option. So I guess there's kind of like, there's a specific nature to this. Maybe I've not done this correctly, or kind of like assigned this correctly with my tags. Whatever it is, yeah, I've probably done it wrong. But whatever, like if they're saying spot is kind of like amongst one of them, or maybe he's going to come into it at some stage as a tag thing. I think it's really the, if I get spot, then I will kind of like look to attach it to there. I'll make him more of a frustrating defender and put that in for BG, providing that it's up with the current meta. And the meta seem more important now than ever with the nodes. But in any case, Iron Fist, I think is the one that interests me the most, depending on what experimentations I can have with it. And as well, the Valkyrie one can be quite interesting for Valkyrie. I guess Baron Zemo and a massacre. So yeah, I'm looking forward to looking at in the future, make some content and whatnot. But that's been a video. What's your thoughts on some of these new relics? Let me know in the comment section. I'm off now. Check out some other content, and I'll see you all soon. Bye bye.